What up, y'all? It's Kylie with Ground Zero Radio, powered by the Vera Project. I'm here with two NFFTY award winners.
Hey, hi, hey everybody. I guess this is a great time to introduce ourselves. My name is Gaurano, and I was the director, editor, and cinematographer on the short boxing documentary called Team Meryland.
And my name is Juila Elihu, and I was the producer on Team Meryland, and I also wrote and directed the short Winter of '79.
Period. They were also both so good and so amazing. And how was it for you guys to, was it the first time that both of those films were screened?
Yeah, so for Team Meryland, it wasn't the first time. This is actually kind of towards the end of our festival run. We had the privilege of premiering at the Big Sky Doc Fest in 2021. But we really have been longing for an in-person festival, and we have had a few of those in-person screenings, but there's nothing really like NFFTY, where you're surrounded by all of your friends from film school and beyond, and you have a very supportive community. So it's not the first in-person screening, but it kind of feels like that at the same time.
Yeah, and this has definitely been like the most interactive and like exciting screening I think we've both been to, with such an energetic audience. And also, this is actually the third festival that both Team Meryland and Winter of '79 have screened in together.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was
so,
NFFTY, Holly Shorts, and then
Rhode Island.
Oh, wow, that's so fun.
Yeah.
Oh.
So they're kind of on a journey together.
Yeah. Did you guys travel there together?
We didn't, but we traveled. Well, Holly Shorts was in LA, so we both went to that festival. And I think this is actually the first festival that I personally have traveled to.
Mm-hmm. Through Team Meryland, though, we did do a lot of traveling. Back in 2019, we traveled to Montana pre-pandemic to pitch Team Meryland at the Tribeca Film Institute pitch competition. And then through Team Meryland, of course, we also traveled to New York for some experiences as well. So really grateful for the film for allowing us to see so many different parts of the world.
Yeah, that sounds really awesome. And how did you guys come together to work on Team Meryland together?
Yeah, do you want to try this?
Well, so funny enough, Gabe and I have been making films together since high school. We were actually part of the same after-school film program in high school. And really from there, we've been making films together ever since. Whether it's him having a role in one of my films, me having a role in one of his films, and just back and forth on every project, just collaborating. And then do you want to kind of get into specifically Team Meryland?
I'll explain the story of how we met the subjects really quickly, because that kind of bleeds into how we started working on it. But I was shooting a short film in the summer of 2018 with just a couple friends from high school, and we were shooting in the projects of Watts. And I had the camera in my hand, and as we were in the middle of this scene, a random man comes out of nowhere and approaches our group. And in Spanish, he says, hey, does anyone here speak Spanish? And at the time, I was taking Spanish too, and I was really passionate about practicing my language skills. So then I said, hey, I do speak Spanish. I what's going on? How are you? And he said, I see you have a camera. I have a daughter who boxes. Maybe would you ever want to make a video about her sometime? And then he sent me his eldest daughter, Araceli, actually sent me a really long DM, basically explaining that they have no money, but that I'd be more than welcome to make something about them. And so I sent a screenshot of that DM to Julia, and I didn't realize how cool it was for someone like this to send something like that. And it was when she saw it, she was like, you have to do this, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, you kind of felt it in your bones. And I kind of get that hesitancy though, because I feel whenever you're first coming to a project, there's always a bit of hesitancy because film is such a difficult medium, and every time you commit yourself to making something, it takes a lot of your time, your energy, your passion, your effort. So I feel as filmmakers, we're always the first person to actually reject a story. And so I think him sharing it with me and me not having those inhibitions, just kind of seeing it from a bit of an outside perspective and being able to tell him no, you got to make this, it's going to be amazing. And yeah, here we are.
To that point as well, none of us expected this project to be a year and a half of shooting. So like if I had known the amount of work we would have to put in to complete this project, I'm not sure like I would say yes, but because we did say yes, it was like just the most beautiful learning experience, shooting it for that long, editing it, being with the family. So it's been awesome.
Yeah. And how like was it when you guys actually met with the family and like Meryland herself? Was it easy to start filming, or was it kind of weird at first with the cameras all around them?
It was like surprisingly easy. So before I started shooting with Meryland, and my first shooting day, our first shooting day was actually the first time I had ever met them in person, besides the dad on that one interaction. And so before that moment, ESPN actually made like a spotlight on her for Hispanic Heritage Month.
Wow.
And they had a crew of like 10 people with lights, mics, cinematographers, a director. And then, when I hopped in to film Meryland after that, it was just, one person now, a college student who's pretty unintimidating and a little skinny. And it's just one camera with like a mic on top, no lights, no lavs even. And I think all of that really helped disarm them, because here's this young kid in their house. That's not an entire crew, and they already had the warm up with ESPN. So we kind of hit the ground running.
That's true. And did they ever see it?
Yeah, so they've seen it on like every single step. Like I showed them a 3-minute cut and then a 5-minute cut, the version before picture lock to get their blessing, the final version. And then we did a bunch of screenings in that I actually, in my mind, I think of the theater screening at the Lemley when Araceli's mom was there.
Yeah. So Meryland's grandma was there and like got to see the film, and they don't see her that often. So it was really special. Yeah. And then there's also a really special story that Gabe shared previously, that when Jorge first moved to America, he the first movie he saw, right, was in like the TLC Chinese theater. And then at Holly Shore, it's Team Meryland screened at the TLC Chinese theater. So Jorge, got to sit in that theater X amount of years later and now see his daughter up on that screen. So kind of like a very full circle moment.
Yeah, that's so special. Wow. I'm like, I'm so touched.
I know the story, it has so many special twists and turns.
Yeah, it's really special.
And did they ever know what the real illness was?
No.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so we don't know what the real illness was. The best guess is that it's like an environmental illness, just because being that they do live in Watts, and there tends to be a much higher rate of childhood illness in low-income communities. So that's the best guess, but nobody really knows.
Yeah, Meryland also, she still goes through that illness today. She had, another episode, a couple months ago, and she goes to a boarding school in Colorado, so she had to be taken care of at the hospital over there. So we're still trying to figure out, what it is.
Wow. So also, would you mind just giving us a little, synopsis about your film?
Yeah, so basically Winter of 79 follows a Persian Jewish family in Iran during the time of the revolution in 1979. And basically they're, with all the chaos that comes with the revolution, this feeling of unwelcomeness that now came over them, and that push and pull between feeling like you're home and then another minute feeling like you're no longer home. So that's kind of the basic synopsis of the film, and hopefully we can post it online soon and make it public to the world.
Yeah. And you said there was a family story too, right?
Yeah, so the story, it's based on my family's experiences escaping Iran during the revolution. We're Persian Jews, and which is, was a minority in Iran, and unfortunately, most of that community had to leave. And so with film, that's one of my biggest motivations, is just sharing my family stories and the things that they've been through, because I feel like so many people don't know about them. So every time somebody comes up to me and says, wow, I've never heard this story before, I never knew that this happened, it makes me feel so happy, because I'm getting to kind of share this this history that's kind of informed a lot of who I am.
Wow.
Yeah, that's so special. And for the process for both films, what would you say is like one of your favorite parts of the process?
That's such a good question. I remember I don't know if this answers it, but I remember working on the project and it being so tough at times, and sharing that with Julia. And she told me one time, like, this is something that you're gonna miss it one day, and I do miss it. That I miss ditching class sometimes to go film them. I do miss like staying up really late and waking up very early to capture them, going to work or walking to school. Just one of my favorite parts is just getting closer with the family too. Becoming family with them off camera was a blessing because they're still very close with me today. I'm close with them, and we spent Christmas together, and we FaceTime and talk, and I'm going to Meryland's quinceañera and this summer. So it's just finding the family, not only in the film but in the process as well, has been amazing.
Yeah, and I think for me, like, in general, when it comes to filmmaking, like, I think it kind of changes every time with each film of, like, what my favorite moments are. Like, I feel like there's always little gems in every part of the filmmaking process. Like, with some films, it's, like, the crowdfunding and, like, finding really fun and, like, creative ways to make money. Like, one time me and my friend, like, tried to sell cookies outside of like a church on a Sunday, and like
you did do that.
Yeah, we did that. Yeah, and like and then other times it's like finding like a crazy location, and like when you finally find it, it's like, whoa, this is so exciting. Other times it's like a special moment on set when like an actor does something that surprised you and you didn't expect, and you are caught off guard and caught in the moment. And then sometimes it's like editing, and when you finally get to see the footage and play with it and like feel the energy and the excitement of that thing you just made. So there's always little gems in each part of the process.
Yeah. And is there a way that we can watch your films?
Well,
yeah, so Team Meryland, we were lucky enough to get acquired by 2 companies or organizations. So the first one is POV Docs on PBS. And you can watch it there. Either it's broadcast on TV, whatever your station is. It's also online on the internet. And then it was also picked up by The New Yorker. So you can watch it online on YouTube on The New Yorker's channel. In addition to that, if you're interested in screening it in your classroom, that's something that we're very passionate about, is bringing this film to the more educational audience as well. And so there are educational materials with discussion guides and stuff that talk about what it's like to be a female boxer, a female athlete, and just Meryland's story in general. So there's a lot of materials for this film you can share.
Yeah, and going off of that, Winter of '79 is still kind of in the festival circuit, so it's not online yet. But if you're interested in watching it and it seems like something you'd want to watch, you can always reach out to me. I have a website with my email. Just shoot me an email and I can send you a link to the film.
Awesome. And what's your website?
My website is juliaelihu.com. So it's JuliaElihu.com.
Awesome.
Remember the name.
Remember the name.
Thank you too.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. It's been so great having you guys here.
Yeah, that was
Thanks
fun.
for having us.
Yeah.
Thanks.
First radio ever.
Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been Kylie with Ground Zero Radio, where we listen to be heard, and we'll see you guys next time.
Woo!
Bye. Thank you. That was fun.
Thank you.